Hi all, I've created this series of worksheets to support you in developing financial literacy skills and to also expand your use of technology. In this video walkthrough, I'll provide a breakdown of how to complete each task and explain the details required for each formula. These activities are scaffolded and range from easy to most challenging. If you're wanting to check your progress, have a look at the overall score at the top right-hand side of each page. Every formula that you get correct will add to that overall score. Let's start with the general instructions. There are coloured cells that each mean something different. The grey one you see here is a place for our fixed values. Once you feel you have constructed the correct formulae in a worksheet, I encourage you to test these by changing the fixed values. These cells will show us how amazingly fast a spreadsheet can be when applying our skills to create your personal budget or executing a large number of calculations quickly. The yellow cell indicates that you need to construct a formula, and the green cell means that the formula within the cell is correct. Further testing is required though, more on this in our first example. Take some time to read the quick starter guide if you have never constructed a formula in a spreadsheet before. Down the bottom of the sheet, we have a series of what we call worksheets. I have ordered these worksheets from easiest to hardest based on the skills required. Select the wage worksheet to start. This sheet will help me calculate my total earnings based on my rate of pay and the number of hours I work. The nice addition to this is that I have the ability to include penalty rates such as time and a half and double time. The little red ticks at the top of some cells tell me there is a comment there for me to read. I have included comments throughout the spreadsheet to provide additional hints and to support you if you wish to complete the spreadsheet without the video walkthrough. Let's look at the first yellow cell. I am required to calculate the income I would earn for 9 hours of work at a normal rate of pay, $22 per hour. If you were using the calculator, you would simply multiply 9 by $22. This would be correct in this case as well. However, spreadsheets are designed for dynamic values, meaning I must be able to change the numbers and the formula should recalculate it for me. So instead of multiplying 9 by 22, what I will do is multiply the cells that contain those values. That way, when my wage increases or decreases, or one week I might work more hours, the formula will adjust that automatically. To write our first formula, we'll click on the cell we want to write the formula in. Type the equal sign to instruct the spreadsheet that I'm writing a formula, and I'll include the first cell reference. The cell reference for 9 hours worked is B11. To apply the calculation, we multiply the numbers together. To multiply in a formula, we use the asterisk symbol. The second cell reference will be B6. To summarize, we took the number in cell B11 and multiplied it with the number in cell B6. Hit the Enter key to allow this formula to calculate automatically. For the next formula, we need to introduce another element to include the penalty rate of time and a half. When writing a formula for a spreadsheet, we can often become a bit confused when there are too many elements. It helps to write down the calculation required on a sheet of paper. That way, we can translate it into a dynamic formula for Excel. This calculation would be $22 per hour multiplied by 1.5 to factor in time and a half as a penalty rate. Then we would multiply the number of hours, in this case it would be 2. 22 times by 1.5 times by 2. Now to save us some time finding cell references and typing them in, I'm going to show you a shortcut. Type the equal sign to indicate that we're constructing a formula. Here's where the shortcut comes in. Instead of typing B6, we'll just click on the cell we want to reference. You can see how it comes up with the reference of its own. Next, to multiply, we use the asterisk and we'll multiply by 1.5. This number will be typed in because it will always stay the same. Finally, multiply that by cell B13, the number of hours worked at that penalty rate. Hit Enter and bam, our next formula is complete. To challenge yourself, I'd encourage you to pause and attempt the third income formula for yourself. Otherwise, let's keep going. The only difference this time is the penalty rate. So my calculation manually would be $22 per hour multiplied by 2 to give me the penalty rate for double time. Then we would multiply that by 3, the number of hours worked. That structure should support us in constructing our formula. Click on the cell we want to write the formula in, and type equals to indicate that we want to construct the formula. $22 per hour multiplied by 2, our penalty rate adjustment, then finally multiply that by the cell that contains the 3. Hit the Enter key and voila! We have our 3 different incomes at each rate of pay. We have 3 more cells to fill in. The total number of hours worked, the total income, and then the total earnings, which should be the same as the total income, but it is important to clearly show your final answer. More on that in a moment. I will show you 2 different methods for calculating a total. Let's start with the total number of hours worked. If I asked you this in a maths quiz, you would take the three numbers, 9, 2, and 3, and add them all together. Here we'll do the same, but instead of typing each number, we'll want it to change if my cell values change. So instead, we'll reference the cells. Type an equal sign to indicate that we're going to construct a formula, then simply select the first cell, plus the second cell, plus the third cell. Using the plus button on your keyboard, hit enter again. It has applied the calculation for me. The second way to calculate the total of the three cells is to use a predefined formula within Excel. Excel has around 500 predefined formulae all set up to make your life a little bit easier. To find the total of a set of numbers, the formula we'll be using is the sum formula, SUM. To use a predefined formula in Excel, there are specific formatting requirements, so let's type the equal sign as normal, then I'll type SUM, sum, and finally open bracket. All predefined formula have a word, then an open bracket symbol. You would have also seen the drop-down list to help prompt you in filling in the correct values. To use the sum formula, we simply click the cells we want to add together. The first, comma, the second, comma, then the third. Finally, to indicate that you have finished typing the formula, close the brackets and hit enter. Now, to clearly state our final value, I want to simply recall the total income cell. To reference this cell, I will type equals and then click the cell. Hit enter and that's it. You've finished all required formula in this worksheet. Now to test it. If you have a part-time job, why don't you enter your rate of pay per hour and also change the hours worked? I will try this as well. If your cells stay green, you have correctly constructed your dynamic formulae. If not, you might need to go back through the video and see what you've done wrong. Moving on to the next financial mathematics calculator, commission. I've included some definitions next to each term for you to read if you're not familiar with the term. To summarize, commission is the amount of money I would earn based on the number of sales made. Not all jobs pay you a commission, but typically jobs that require you to sell things will pay a commission. The aim of a commission is to motivate employees to sell more so they can earn more money. The more sales they make, the higher their total earnings. But this system has a lot of flaws. Your job can become overly stressful, and the competitiveness between colleagues to make a sale can make the workplace unpleasant. There are many pros and cons to using a commission to pay your employees, and I'll leave that to your maths teacher to discuss the rest with you. We are starting with the easiest form of commission calculation. If I made $2,100 in sales and earn a commission at a rate of 10%, what would my total earnings be? Well, to answer this question, we would need to find what 10% of 2,100 is. This can be done by multiplying the values together. That means that to find our total earnings, our formula should be 10% multiplied by $2,100. In Excel, we would multiply the two cell references instead, allowing us to change the commission rate and sales made. To test the formula, let's say I sold $50,000 worth of products, but I only earned 2% commission. The total earnings cell should update automatically and stay green. Let's try something a little more difficult. Select the Commission Moderate worksheet. This worksheet includes a weekly retainer, which is a fixed amount of money paid to an employee on top of their commission. This way, if you're a terrible salesperson or if no one comes into the store to purchase something, you'll still be guaranteed your retainer as pay. The first thing we'll do is multiply the commission rate by the sales made. I'm going to hit enter and you'll notice the cell has not turned green. I'm missing something in this calculation. It's my retainer. To edit a cell with a formula in it, we can click on that cell and at the top here we'll have a formula editing bar. Let's include the retainer as well by adding it to my commission earned. A simple plus B5 should do here, and the cell has turned green. Hooray! Let's do our final checks. Change the retainer to anything you like. Change the commission rate and sales made as well, and ensure the total earnings cell remains green. You could even make the sales made $0. Check if your total earnings is equal to your retainer. If it turns back to yellow, something in your formula is wrong. Finally, let's have a look at the most difficult type of commission question you can get. Move to the next worksheet entitled Commission Harder. This worksheet is a challenge activity, attempt it if you dare. There are some cases where commissions are only earned when you make sales over a certain threshold. In this case here, you are paid a weekly retainer of $100, and on top of that you earn a commission of 5% on sales exceeding $500. This week I made $1,400 worth of sales. Now if we think carefully about this, that means I'm only earning a commission on $900 of those sales, remembering that I don't earn anything under the first $500. This $900 represents the excess between my commission threshold, $500, and my sales made, which is $1,400. So we would need to construct a formula that will calculate that excess. The formula should be $1,400 minus $500, which is B9 minus D7. Hit enter and let's check that I get $900. Perfect. The next cell is asking me to calculate the commission that I would have earned on that $900. My rate is 5%. So it should be 5% of 900, or 5% multiplied by 900. Lastly, for this worksheet, let's determine how much money this employee should be paid in total. My total earnings should be my commission plus my weekly retainer. Our formulas work perfectly in this example. You can change your sales made to $10,000 if you like, and it will still work. However, there is a problem. If my sales made was less than $500, the formula says that I should have been paid a negative commission, but that doesn't really make any sense. This would require a more advanced type of formula known as a conditional formula. We'll introduce that in a later lesson. Now for something a little bit more interesting. So far, we've only constructed one formula at a time. Let me show you how to construct multiple in one go. Move to the car wash worksheet calculator. Here we have another income scenario. I am being paid to complete certain jobs. Sometimes this type of system is referred to as piecework. In this scenario, you're the owner of your own car wash. For one car to be washed, it will cost $3.50, and for a wash and polish, it will be $9.50. The table here shows me how many cars have come through on each day for the wash only and for the wash and polish. We are required to calculate the total daily earnings for each day, but you'll also notice I seem to be missing 4 whole days. Now, if I wanted to waste time, I could go through and type in each day. Ugh, boring. Let me show you a cool trick. Spreadsheets are designed to recognize patterns. By now, it should know that I am actually typing the days of the week. So instead of typing the rest, I'll simply highlight the ones I have typed, select the tiny little square at the bottom corner of the cells, and pull them down. Most people don't know that this is possible, but I guarantee if you practice these spreadsheet skills, you'll save yourself a lot of time in the long run. That is called the fill function, and it also applies to formulas. Let me show you. On paper, to calculate my earnings for Monday, I would take the 5 cars that received a wash only and multiply that by $3.50. Then I would multiply 2 by $9.50. Finally, I would add those two values together. I should be able to do this calculation all in one go. Select the appropriate cell, type the equal sign, and we'll use the cell references instead of the numbers. So 5 multiplied by $3.50 plus 2 multiplied by $9.50. If you are doing this in the calculator, your teacher might encourage you to use brackets. This is a great idea, but in this case, it will not change my answer, so it's not required. Now here's the thing, I don't want to type the exact same formula every time. That would be more than 6 times. Instead, I'm going to try the little trick. Let's fill down 2 or 3 cells. Select the first cell. At the bottom right corner of the cell is a tiny square. Drag that down. You'll notice that the cell didn't change color to green. There's an error. Let's try to spot what's happened here. All the cells have moved down, which is great because now it's using the numbers in the Tuesday row. So 4 cars paid for a wash only and 7 cars received a wash and polish. Using the fill trick brings each cell reference down once, which is super nifty, except some of these cells shouldn't have moved down. Have a look to the left side of the page. Notice that these cells actually aren't correct. We'll see the same if we look at the Wednesday calculation. The cell references all have moved down another step. We have a little trick to stop this from happening to certain cells. It's called locking a cell reference, sometimes known as absolute cell referencing. Let's go back to the original formula for Monday. We want these 2 cell references to move down when we fill down, but we want the rates to remain unmoved. So we need to lock in B6 and B7. To do this, all we need to do is pop a $ in front of the number and letter. So now it should be $B$6 and $B$7. This will lock them in place. Let's see if it worked. This time I'm going to fill the whole way down the table. Select the first cell, grab the little square at the bottom right of the cell, and click and drag all the way down to Friday. Now we can check. We can see that all the cells have turned green, so we know that they're correct, but let's click on Thursday's earnings. We can check the cell references are all correct by looking at which cells are highlighted, and it looks great. This saved me from retyping this formula manually 6 times. Okay, to finish this, we will use the sum formula to add all 7 values together. Last time we did this, we clicked on each individual cell. Let me show you an even faster technique. Type equals, then SUM. Don't forget open bracket. To add 7 cells in a column together, all you need to do is click and drag across the 7 cells. You can see it's highlighted all of the values. Close the brackets and then click Enter. Well done, you have completed the Financial Mathematics Spreadsheet Skills activity. As an extension activity, feel free to explore the graphing options. Find the best graph to display the discrete numerical data, and enjoy!